Tonight, straight from the Rockies, it's the Silver Bullet, a review you thought you'd never see. Hey, it's Bryon Lape back with a beer review, and here, believe it or not, back from the 80s, the Coors Light Silver Bullet. We'll say a former girlfriend of mine, was her mother's favorite beer. This is best by December 16th, 2019, so we've got some days on it. Straight out of the refrigerator, it is freaking ice cold. It was way in the back, so it is very cold. Cold lager, cold filtered, cold packaged. I thought they had a thing that said it was blue, and maybe that's what's on the can, I don't know. Remember all kinds of craziness. Now on Untapped, interestingly enough, my friends have 45 check-ins, I don't have any, with an average score of 1.59. So because we've got American Diet Lager, we've got the right kind of mug, no glass for this, well it's glass, but no fancy Sam Adams glass for this one. This is just straight unadulterated water, except water's better. I haven't had a Coors Light, I think since my friend Steve got married the first time, which was, I want to say 1990. I'm not positive. So it has a Pilsner-like smell. As expected, we've got a really pale yellow coloring. And now, as I did with some other beer reviews like this, I'm going to try and judge it within its context and then overall. What I'll check into Untapped would be what I would give it as an overall beer. But I'm going to try and judge it in its context of this style. This very pale, very carbonated, lightly hopped style. So, right off the bat, you've got hints of a Pilsner-y beer. Now, I won't call it a Pilsner, but it does have hints of Pilsner malts. On the nose, when you drink it about halfway back, it's kind of a Pilsner-y. There's no discernible hop aroma or really hop bitterness, in particular at this stage. Now, normally a hoppy beer, when it's very cold, is far more bitter than when the hops open up and the malts open up and it flattens out some. So that, in the context of a light beer, this style of American Diet Lager is what it's known by the Beer Judging Guide, because a light beer just means light in color, not a diet, which is what these are. It's about a 2.5 out of 5. The reason I give that, it has a very distinct aftertaste. It's not too bad. It's not as bad as a Bud Light, but it's not great. I would say Miller Lite has a far better taste than this. Now, as far as things like Keystone and all that other stuff, I don't know. I've never had any of those. And I am getting a slight headache from this, just from the few sips that I've had. So as far as a beer for hydration, it might be okay. I probably can't deal with it. Now, I have heard people say things like they have formaldehyde and all kinds of other stuff in this beer. I don't know if any of that is true. Obviously, there's no real ingredients list on here, so you're not going to get, you got the serving. So this is 12 ounces, I can't read how, 4.2% alcohol, looks like 102. It's either 102 or 162 or 182, I'm not sure. So established 1978, I guess that's when they started Coors Light, because the Coors Brewery is older than that. I really need to get some Coors Banquet beer and try the original, or what purports to be the original. So anyway, yeah, it wants to be something else, and it really isn't. It really isn't there. Like I said, I think it tastes better than a Bud Light, but nowhere near as good as a Miller Lite in this context. Now, overall for a beer rating, now that's going to be the interesting check-in. You know, I think a 1.5 is going to be decent. 1.25 maybe, but 1.5 feels about right. 1.75 just feels like too much. If it didn't have that odd taste that kind of lingers after you drink it, I would definitely give it a 1.75. it had a little bit more flavor, it would be a 2 out of 5 overall for me. But that's more like Miller Lite territory. So, you know, where a Budweiser is about a 1, this looks like about a 1.5. I just put it between Bud Light and Miller Lite, that's for sure. Now, as far as food pairings with this is, you know, a hot dog straight out of the, you know, get a nice Oscar Mayer hot dog straight out of the refrigerator. Microwave it till it's slightly warm. Put it in a white bread bun and put ketchup on it, no relish. That's what you would have with this. Now, I know some of you are going to say ketchup on a hot dog, if you're over 12 years old, that ought to be illegal. And I agree, but so should this stuff. This is really horrible beer. It's unfortunate that it's popular, but I think people are just drinking this, I guess, I don't know what you drink this with, because the horrible aftertaste and that bitterness just lingers and lingers. And the more I talk, the worse it gets. And it's starting to affect this eyeball. My left eye is starting to be bothered by whatever the heck is in this stuff. So 1.5 is definitely, the Miller Lite I actually could drink. I'm guessing, so, and Bud Light gives me a headache pretty close to instantly. So at some point I'm going to do a Bud Light, I just don't know when. So there you go. If you're from Colorado, I know New Belgium is bought probably by the time this video is on YouTube and BitChute and everywhere else. It's already been bought and sold, which is unfortunate. I understand a lot of people are, oh, it happens every single time. At first, nothing happens, and then the founders move away. The senior people that have been there for a while kind of go. They slowly get replaced. A year or two later, it starts to get a little bit worse. And then maybe 3 or 4 years down the road, they start cutting corners. Goose Island's already doing it. Several other breweries that sold out several years ago are doing it. The only buyout merger I don't see causing a problem is Boston Beer buying or merging with Dogfish Head. I still reserve judgment on that because the 120 IPA seems to be suffering. It's not storing as well. It's not aging as well as it used to. I have some that's just 2 years old, and it's okay, but it's nothing like it used to be. It's also 16.5% instead of 18. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. So I'm giving this a 1.5 out of 5. You think that's generous? You think I'm being just a stuck-up beer snob? Hey, you're welcome to your opinion. But you know, now I understand why people drink these things rapidly and crush the cans on their head, because it's pretty much, you know, it's pretty much useless. And I guess it is because it's no longer blue on the front. So it was the right color. You know, everything was blue here on the Rockies. Now it isn't. So it's a gimmick from the can. Now, does that affect the taste? I don't know. They'll probably, and even what was cold here is no longer blue. So there you go. So it does have a can. I was right. I knew they did something like that, you know, because when your beer's crap, you got to come out of the way to market some kind of gimmick. So let me know in the comments below. Share this everywhere, and no idea how many more of these we'll be doing. YouTube is really cracking down on this stuff, and you know, maybe I have to stop or lose my channel. I don't know. See you next time, and goodbye.
Alright, go egg, or dozer, someone go.
Established 1978. Oh, crap.